Welcome to School Quiz students. I'm your biology teacher Swathi, and in this video the topic which we are going to discuss is why do we fall ill. And in this chapter the topic which is very important is the mechanism of illness, that how actually the process of illness works, what is responsible or which functioning actually are hampered during the illness. So we know that in our body, the cell is the structural and fundamental unit of life. Okay, we know that cell is the structural and fundamental unit of life. That means if we talk about structural unit, that means something which provides structure to something. And on basis of that only, cells are distinguished as rectangular shaped, cuboidal shaped, spherical shaped, coma shaped. On basis of that only the structure is provided. And other than that, in cell, specifically the plasma membrane or the cell membrane have the function of providing structure to the cell. Okay, and after structure comes the function. That is the functional unit of life, which means something which provides function to other organs or parts of the body. If we talk about respiration, then how the process of respiration is carried out in our body, how the process of digestion is carried out in our body, how the process of excretion is carried out in our body. So it is basically carried out by cells only. But as we know that cell is a very basic unit or very fundamental unit. So such a small unit alone can't be employed in such a huge process of like continuing all of the process. So how actually the cell does this process, that we are going to understand in this video. Okay students, so when we have many cells, so the small cells combine up together, and these cells combine up together to form the tissues. And when cells form tissues, after tissues, these tissues will combine to form the organs, and organs will combine to form organ system level of organization. When we talk about organ, so organ can be heart, kidney, lungs, and we can say other ureter and other parts of the body. Okay, and when these different organs are involved in a system, or how these organs combinedly control the physiological process of the body, they constitute organ system. Okay, if we have to classify the kind of organ system, they can be classified as respiratory system, we can have circulatory system, we can have excretory system. When we talk about respiratory system, the main organ which is involved is our lungs, and the respiratory process is basically involved in exchange of gases through our body. Okay, when we talk about circulatory system, the master organ which plays its role is heart. Okay, and it is basically used for the transport and purification of blood in our body. Okay, so the way in which whole of the blood is transported from our heart to all the parts of the body, and how impure blood is taken from all of the body to the heart. Fine. And after that comes the excretory system. So excretory system basically is a system which is involved in removal of waste products out of our body. Okay, so when we talk about respiratory system, the important organ which plays its role is kidney. They basically work as a filter for our body. Suppose we took some food, we had it, so all of the important nutrients, vitamins, proteins will be absorbed by the kidneys, and the waste material will be removed by the kidneys by the process of excretory system. So in that way all of these systems are there in our body. So after understanding that, we should know that such huge processes are going on in our body. Suppose respiration is going on, breathing is going on, or we can say circulation is going on, excretion is going on, and because of some internal factor or external factor, if the functioning of these systems are affected, we actually fall ill, or that is only known as diseased condition. Okay, students? So the functioning of these are only hampered because we know cell is not something which is constant. On the contrary, cell is a dynamic system, and dynamic system is a system which is continuously in motion, or which is continuously working, because like we know that when we sleep, at that time also our body is very active in terms of, suppose at night we had food and we went to sleep, but at that time also the machinery of our body is involved in digestion of that food, and after digestion of that food it will be transferred to the kidney, and kidneys will play its role in the filtration of that particular food items and other things. Okay, students? And after that, like the process of, like, simultaneously the process of breathing is also going on, the process of transport of blood is also going on. So all these are the processes which are going on in our body 24/7. 24/7 these processes are running in our body. Okay, so many times what happens that, like, because some DNA repair is also going on, some mutation is also there, so if something is hampered in the cell, we will be in a diseased condition, or the functioning of body will not be that efficient in that terms. Okay, now we have understood that yeah, cell is very important for our body, that it is providing structure, it is providing function to in our body. So what actually the cell is made up of? So the cell basically is made up of biomolecules which are involved in making of a cell can be proteins, lipids, vitamins, fatty acids can be there. So all these biomolecules only combine to form the cell. Okay, so the first biomolecule which is involved in the formation of cell is protein. Protein basically is made up of amino acid only. So amino acid are the monomeric units of protein. So the protein, the cell is basically made up of proteins, fats, carbohydrates, and we can have lipids also. When we talk about carbohydrates, so carbohydrates are basically made up of sugar molecules. Sugar moieties are basically involved. Whereas protein is formed from amino acid. And in similar way, the lipids and fatty acids are also involved. Students, as you have also listened this term quite frequently, that the level of cholesterol is increased in our body, or like doctor just suggested us to have like a little amount of oil or ghee. So in that case, what actually happens is that the carbohydrates and fatty acid content of our body is increased beyond the normal level. And if the level of carbohydrates, lipids is increased above the normal level, in that condition what happens is the arteries and veins in heart gets blocked. Because of that, the chances of heart related diseases and even the chances of heart failure also increases. So that is something which needs to be kept in consideration. When we talk about proteins, so protein is very good for our health, and because of that only our elders also suggest us to have paneer in our diet, or the dal should be included, green leafy vegetables should be taken. But the excess of everything is very bad for our body. So if the amount of protein is also increased in our body. At that case also, what happens is that like the deposition of protein will affect the function of kidney. So like we should always try to include balanced diet in our food. Okay, so the balanced diet is a kind of diet in which we have all of the balanced constituents of proteins, fats, vitamins and other necessary nutrients. Okay, so in cell there are always the complex reactions which are going on in our body. So the complex reactions which are going in our body can be replication for the formation of copies of DNA, then transcription is there in which DNA is converted into RNA, and then RNA is converted into proteins by the process of translation. And when we talk about respiration, so respiration basically is an energy dependent process in which a lot of energy will be required by our body. Okay, in case of humans, the respiration basically is aerobic respiration, which means it takes place in presence of oxygen. And then we also have the repair which is going on in our body. Suppose we just got we got some injury in our body, so that will be properly healed up by our body only, or so these all are the functioning which are continuously going on in our body. Suppose when we have a bound, after some time we see that the kind of brownie, this mesh like structure is formed. So this mesh like structure basically is formed by platelets only. So in that way, so beautifully the human body is designed, in which like all of the function is monitored so well plannedly. Okay, so in that way, if there is a minute defect in our body, whole of the functioning will be hampered, and because of that we will not be able to work that efficiently. Next is, as we have seen that fine, but now you will ask, ma'am, is it so in like these small bacteria, insects also, or very small organisms, or like minute insects also this whole of the process take place, and they also have respiratory system, excretory system, digestive system, just as like the humans. So in that case, my dear students, I'm going to tell you that the cell are basically of two types. So the two types of cells which are there, the two type of organisms can be there on based upon the cells. So the organisms can be unicellular, or the organisms can be multicellular. The term uni signifies single and multi means many. So the type of organism in which all of the functions are performed by a single cell in a body, so those kind of cells are known as unicellular cells. And the example for unicellular cells basically are amoeba, protozoa. Okay, so in case of amoeba or protozoa, the respiration or digestion, excretion, circulation of the blood, all of the process will be carried out in the single cell only. So this basically is the shape of amoeba, and these are the pseudopodia of amoeba, and this small cell will perform all of the processes inside it. Whereas on the contrary, in case of multicellular organism, each and every small cells will combine, and in a combined and coordinated manner the cell will perform their functioning. So that is the case in multicellular organism. So there is division of work for multicellular organism, and the example of multicellular organisms are plants, animals and humans. Okay, so in that way only the organism have been classified, that unicellular organism or multicellular organism. Okay, so student, like in this chapter we should know the focus of ours will be more on multicellular organisms, in which there is distinction of like different functioning. So for multicellular organism, we have circulatory system for the transport of blood and lymph in the body. Then we have respiratory process for exchange of gases in and out of the body. We have excretory system, which is involved in removal of waste materials out of the body. Then we have endocrine system. The endocrine system is a kind of system in which the functioning of hormones come into play. So various type of hormones are there which will control, like thyroid hormones are there, sexual hormones are there, and we can have various kinds of growth hormone, or the hormones which control the deposition of pigmentations in our body, or the hormones which control the sleep and wake cycle in our body. All these things are included in your class 11th syllabus, in which there is a different separate chapter related to endocrine system, respiratory system, circulatory system, and there you will deal with all these concepts in detail. Okay, after that we have digestive system. Digestive system is a kind of system which is involved in digestion of the food, or the different kinds of nutrients, or the things which we intake for the growth of our body and the proper functioning of our body. And next we have nervous system. Nervous system basically is a system in which the master organ of our body is involved, and that is none other than brain. So this system basically is involved in control and coordination in our body, that how different kinds of processes will be coordinated and how one process after the another will take place, or we can say the decision making in our body, how the decision making in our body is carried out. So all these things are controlled by nervous system, and in nervous system brain and spinal cord mainly, or the brain and central nervous system mainly plays the role. Okay, so now as we have seen that it is that kind of the mechanism which is involved, so now we should know that how actually we get ill, or like cell is so beautifully designed, and like at each and every process also there are certain checkpoints, things are checked so nicely, then also we fall ill. Why? So illness can be because of certain internal factors, or we can have we can have internal factors or external factors. When we talk about external factor, it is basically related to the outside microorganism or the microbes because of which we fall ill. Like suppose the microbes, we can come in contact with microscope by means of air, soil, water or our food. So when we talk about external systems, it can be because of mainly microbes, and in microbes we have bacteria, virus, protozoa. Okay, so all these are involved and we come in contact with these by means of air, soil, water or food items. Whereas if we talk about internal illness or the internal system which are involved for internal, so it can be because of the defect in our any of the organs. Suppose respiratory system is affected, or we can say the physiology basically is affected, the internal physiology will be affected. So it can be because of some mutation can be there, repair defect can be there, or we can have some problems at cell cycle level. Cell cycle level we can have some defects, we can have defect at repair processes, we can have defect because of mutation, and many a times we also have some defects because of the coping process, or some genetical elements can also be involved in this process. It can also be because of certain genetic elements. That's all for the video, students. I hope that you liked the video. If you have liked my video, please, if you have, like, if in any way I am able to contribute in your studies, please like my channel, share it with your friends so that they can also prepare in a very nice way, and it is only the better way to cope up with this COVID-19 situation. Happy learning, kids. That's all for the video. Thank you. Bye bye. Keep learning, keep studying. Bye.